Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So today, almost 1 year later with the 14-inch MacBook Pro. I know it's been a year, right? It's crazy. So I wanted to talk about this laptop and give you some feedback on it and how it's been treating me, and just the things I like about it and some things I possibly might not like. But this thing, just wanted to start by taking a look at the hardware. This laptop feels really good. Now I've got a lot of laptops and none of them feel like this. This one has a certain appeal to it. I love the square look, but the round corners. That's extremely important to me when it comes to talking about hardware. And there's a lot to like about this particular piece of hardware. So the outer shell just looks really nice, and I believe this comes in a different color too as well. But one of the key things that Apple pointed out at one point is that it brought back the ports. And so this is important to a lot of people who don't want to use a dongle per se. So here's a full-size SD card slot, a Type-C, a full-size HDMI, which is extremely important to a lot of people. And then you've got your MagSafe, two more Thunderbolts, one PD, and then a headphone jack. And I think that's probably got to be like one of the most important parts of this laptop for a lot of people. Tons of people might feel some type of way about the keyboard. I personally like this keyboard layout. Typing on this over the last almost year of having it, it's been pretty good. I haven't had too many complaints. And I do have the latest full-size keyboard, the Apple wireless keyboard. I bought that one, so when I want to dock this, I'll still have the Touch ID and things like that. So, but Touch ID on the fingerprint reader is absolutely great, man. It's on the power button. It's absolutely great. I think where this laptop really shines, though, is going to be the performance and what I use it for when I'm editing videos. Now I don't do too much when it comes to editing, but I do edit everything in 4K, and that hasn't been a problem yet for this computer. So let's take a closer look and deep dive. Now I typically use the Logitech mouse with this when I want a mouse. I just think it's the most convenient for editing and things like that, and moving through timelines and getting into places that I just feel uncomfortable with using just the trackpad. But speaking of the trackpad itself, it is definitely very responsive. I really like navigating with the trackpad because I typically use a Magic Mouse as well. But when I'm on the go and I don't have the Magic Mouse and I don't have the mouse here, this trackpad is more than enough to get through a day and you know, basically get the work done that I need. But I do prefer to have the Magic Mouse or this Logitech mouse right here on hand as much as possible when I can get to one. So this will probably be the best $100 you ever spend right there on a mouse. Just get it, because this is the Mac version of it. But ultimately what I've seen is that they're the same. I have both. I have the other one right here. I bought this one first, and then I got this one when it came out. So, you know, no issues with either one of them. They're exactly the same, just different colors from what I can tell, if I'm being honest. And I don't see a difference in either one. But I will say that this is a must buy if you have a Mac or a PC. Just get the Logitech mouse. It's the best mouse you could possibly get. Now, I spoke about editing on this thing, and so for me, this is a 4K video that I did on that computer sitting right over there, and obviously I edited it on this computer. I like the processing power that comes with this computer. I don't have to try hard, and I can scrub through the timeline with no problem. This is again, this is a 4K video, and I've got a few things on top here, added some layers. But you know, ultimately, this is about my level of editing. I keep it very easy and basic on myself. I try to record good content so I don't have to do a lot of editing. Meaning, if I'm going to get some B-roll, I'm going to get some B-roll or a C-roll or A-roll. If I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, because see, I try to make it as easy as I can on myself for editing. And I think everyone should. I don't think you should want to work hard on editing. Editing is the worst part of doing a video, because you spend, you know, an hour recording or 45 minutes recording, and then you got to spend another 4 hours sometimes editing, depending on how big the file is, or how long the video is. So with me, this was about a 15 minutes or 30 minutes worth of recording, got it down to about 12 minutes or 11 minutes worth of video. did my B-roll, got it inserted, and you can see that this is obviously chump change when it comes to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's not going to stutter through the timeline at all. I could play this and nothing's going to happen. It's just going to play straight through with no problems. This is the type of computer I want for editing, because I don't want to have the hassle of dealing with something that's not powerful enough to work on and get things done quickly. Now, rendering this video, I think it took about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in that range, not very long. I'm so used to this computer rendering things really fast, I don't even bother monitoring. I just hit render, and then I go over here and start, working on something different, or just streaming, or just, not streaming, but I'm web surfing and reading emails and things like that while this is processing. So editing on here, I mean, it's a cakewalk for this device. It is absolutely nothing for this device to edit with. I have not had any problems. Now, I keep my bar down here small and out of the way. Some people keep theirs on this side of the computer or this side of the computer. I'm just so used to having it right there. It doesn't make a difference to me. But yeah, navigating this computer is pretty it's just simple. If you want to get into all of it, you just go into your launch pad and you can see all the things you have there. So I talked about a possible con with this computer, and the possible con is going to be using a dongle. So if in fact you use a dongle like this, now this is the dongle, this is my favorite dongle of them all. I actually have several dongles, but I like this one because it has a long cable for the USB Type-C, and I can drop this behind the desk if I decide to do it. But you do have PD right here, just like the computer itself. You've got PD right here, you've got your regular USB here, see here, a full-size SD card slot, and you have a micro USB, and then you have your Ethernet on here, which this computer doesn't have, but then you also have 3 USB and then a full-size HDMI. So that's important. This was my favorite dongle, but the problem I've run into with running dongles on this MacBook is I'm hooking up a very powerful monitor. I'm hooking up microphones and just cameras. Everything is going in, and I've learned that it really drains the battery faster. There'll be some days where I come out and the computer is pretty much dead. I come back into the office, I'm like, oh man. So if I leave this computer going like this and sit for a couple days, or let's just say one day, it will not die if nothing's hooked to it, because the battery life in here is phenomenal when I'm not using a dongle and having other things hooked to it. But when those days that I left it hooked up, man, it did not survive. The next day, I could come in with half a battery or something like that, and I would leave, come back the next morning, and it's completely dead. And I have to hit that power, get some power to it to get it charged up. And that is probably one of the only cons I have with this device. I like to dock it, which is why I bought the keyboard and external mouse, things like that, because I want to use Mac OS at all times if I can. But I am a fan of Windows 11, so I really can appreciate Windows 11. I like it a lot, and plus, I love the setup that I have for my Windows computers, and I have Windows laptops and everything. So my MacBook has pretty much turned into the primary device I use for editing, and I just like how powerful and smooth it is. I've yet to have any crashes or anything like that over the last 10-11 months of having it, and it just works very well. It just works very well. Now, fatigue in the keyboard. I touched on the keyboard at the beginning, and I said I like this keyboard, but there are some things about it that you might not like. And now, some people don't like this keyboard. I've heard. I actually like it. I think it's a good traveling feedback, but it doesn't compare to the actual keyboard that I purchased, the external keyboard that people buy with Mac Minis and things like that. I bought that latest one with the Touch ID on it to mirror this, so when I do have it docked, I can still get into things, pay for things, and things like that. So, but I don't think this keyboard is bad. It's just not having a number pad like the full-size keyboard. That's where I start to run into some issues like, oh shoot, got to remember my typing skills from school years ago. So the keyboard on here is a really solid keyboard. I like it better than any of the other keyboards that I've used on Mac computers. I like it a lot. Now, another area where I think it's really satisfying are the speakers. I'm going to crank these speakers way up. Yeah, I think you'll agree that these are some of the best speakers on any laptop. I mean, how they crank, and I can only imagine what the 16-inch speakers sound like. I really thought about getting a 16-inch, but to me, that's just too big to have in this area and to move around with. This computer is heavy enough, but I definitely enjoy the speakers on here. Phenomenal set of speakers, and I don't think you can go wrong with these, man. They are just a great set of speakers, and they're so full and rich in sound. It's just something that you have to hear in person. Now over video, it's going to sound a certain way. Yes, I'm using an external microphone to record. Yes, I'm doing all these things, but in person, it's just something you have to hear in person. So, I mean, if you were considering this laptop, there's so much to like about it. So much. There's so much to like about this laptop. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Another con some people might face, if I'm being honest, is the price. Some people won't want to spend $2,000 on this. And I get it. Go ahead and get the MacBook Air. So I still have a MacBook Air. Don't really use it much because, why? But I think what's happening is I'm getting used to Windows again. And so I don't really use this. I don't travel with this and take this around with me anymore. It kind of just stays on this desk right here. And I'm getting work done I'm not gonna say work. I'm getting things done for YouTube. This is what I go to if I want to really knock something out. But other than that, I pretty much use a Chromebook or my new Windows laptop. I'll be following up on that as well. I pretty much use those types of devices to, go about. So that's a follow-up on the MacBook Pro 14 real-world usage, a real user experience after almost a year. When I bought this, I was all in because remember I came from a Mac Mini. I'd used several generations of the Mac Mini, and I sold my Mac Mini M1 to Apple and got this, and I do not regret it. I don't regret it at all. I mean, it's just a freebie to me to move up to so much more power over the Mini, and then I can be portable and dock and things if I want to. So just remember, that kind about the docking with the dongles. The way to avoid that is to get a Type-C monitor and then just go straight into Type-C. And make sure you have at least 96 watts of power. Pretty much should be safe side. And you can just plug in with one cable, and then your monitor will have all of the information you need, like the ports, everything that you want to plug in camera, so you don't have to go directly into the laptop itself. And the monitor will be it'll charge the MacBook. So that's just the way it works. That's the best situation for a person who has a MacBook with a Type-C. Get a Type-C monitor. Invest at least $800 into a good one, and they are out there, and you'll be fine. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed, man. A follow up on this. Look for my 3-year review on my Chromebook. It is coming. It's your man Jay. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.